I'm down here in the basement. We're gonna do some work on a rig I've had sitting here for a while. And I'll post the information about it, but it's sold by GearBest, and it's called the Desert Eagle 3. And then there's another weird, oddball name that goes along with it. These are they're twin hammer knockoffs. Let me grab this and just set this on here. I've put this yellow body on, of course, but there's a full cage under here. Mimics the twin hammer, but it comes apart better and it's smaller. I think the twin hammer scales out to like 1/12th, so this is probably closer to like 1/14th. They come brushed with a 390 motor, and I put this old school Holmes Hobby Cobalt puller I had. What was this? 13 turn, and stacked the pinion on it. I think this is a 26 tooth, I think. And this little sucker would get around. And I was pretty happy with it. But she ran super, super hot. So hot you could feel it through the pan after just a few minutes. And she drained batteries like you wouldn't believe. So, and it was because I had a 13 turn stack so tall. But if you don't know anything about these old, you can't get these anymore, these old school Cobalts, you can run them hot. A kid local picked up a couple of these and was asking about upgrades for them. So I got on Banggood and was looking around and discovered that they had a brushless upgrade for them. These are 390 size, 16th scale, whatever you want to call them. And they have 3 kV options. I can't remember what all they were, but this one is a 4500 kV, and they claim to be waterproof. I question that since, you can see windings there and everything. But it's fully programmable. Well, I shouldn't say fully programmable, but relatively programmable. Here's all your options. It comes with this little card. Actually, the card was $9, and the motor and ESC was like 35 or something like that, or 26 maybe. By the time it was all said and done, I spent like $40 on this. And that includes this Corona servo here. That guy right there. All metal gear, right size, replaces the OEM servo that is actually a 5-wire. And the other thing I don't like about the stock configuration on these, this is pretty common of these rigs you're getting out of China now. They use the combination ESC and receiver. It is kind of neat that they've got some outputs for lights, specifically for the lights, and you can buy a light kit for it. But parts all around are really cheap for this thing. You can get just this rolling chassis as it sits here for like $35. And that's RTR. It's just without a body. And there's like 3 different configurations that it comes in. They sell this as a short course, a rally, and this Twin Hammers knockoff, King of Hammers, whatever you want to call it. So they're a neat little truck. I've looked at some others. Guy at work was asking about things. WL Toys makes one. It's a little bit larger, but still smaller than the Twin Hammers. But the plastic on it is incredibly pliable. I mean, you look at this. This is nice stout. I mean, it has some give in it. It's definitely parts you're going to replace at some point. You take that WL toy and you can just bend everything. The cage included. It's just made out of a really soft plastic. So I wasn't impressed with that. We were looking at videos online. The other thing I don't like about it, it's kind of set up where it just uses a massive spur gear. And this is actually a transmission. And I don't know why, but this seems like a better setup to me. And maybe at the end of it all, it doesn't really matter. But I just think it's a better setup. So this is the one I went with. The only other thing I don't like, and it's really just upgrade stuff, open diff front and rear. I want to lock this rear diff or use some million weight oil or something in it, because when you pound on it, she pulls the side one way really hard. So there's some upgrades we're going to do to it. right now I'm working on putting this brushless system in and this upgraded servo. And I'm finding little things here and there. I was going to try and just reuse the servo saver. Unfortunately, the stock servo uses a smaller spline, so that won't work. I had to shave some mounting posts off of the mount here. They slid inside the mount, the holes here, where on the new servo they wouldn't go inside. I decided I didn't want to drill out the servo, so I just modified the mount. And I did this a while back. This is the mounting plate for it. Uses that nice rotational style mesh adjustment, which I like because it seems easier to set your mesh that way. But this plate did not fit this motor exactly. This setup is sold as an upgrade specific for this truck, but parts don't just fall across. So I had to modify this plate quite a bit to get it to go together, but it's all together now, and I've test fitted a few times. And I was looking for my Spur Gears and couldn't find them, but I finally found them. This whole set here comes with the truck when you buy it. So a lot of nice options in there. You know, I don't like telling people to buy Chinese-made stuff, especially knockoffs, but when it comes to this RC hobby, it's really hard not to. I mean, we're all doing this on a budget. I hate to recommend it, but at the same time, it's hard not to recommend buying one of these. If you're just wanting something cheap, mimics a twin hammer, something you just go out and blast on, these are a great option. All right, we're making a little bit of progress here, and I got the motor installed. Couple of burrs on this mounting plate where the red piece slides inside of a channel in this mounting plate. And the burrs were caused by me having to Dremel out the holes. So I got it all lined up and got the mesh set and got everything installed. Just something to keep in mind as you're putting it together. Over here on the ESC, just want to show you something I always do. Had a bad experience years ago, especially on cheap electronics. Went to shut it off one day. The way the circuits were designed, it jumped across and shorted out inside, and the ESC went wide open. Luckily, it wasn't sitting on its wheels, but the ESC smoked. So what I do is I always cut off the power switch now, and if you look here, get her to focus, that was tied in right there. I just clipped them, took my Lexington scissors and just clipped them right there. And then just put a drop of solder between these two pins, which line up with these two. Then your power switch becomes your battery. You plug the battery in, you're hot, you unplug the battery, you're off. I'm probably going to go ahead and upgrade these leads also. It's already got the Dean's plug on it, but I've got some other pre-made leads or already made up leads, I believe, that I'll probably go ahead and put on a little heavier wire. Probably isn't going to matter too much, but I'd feel better having something a little heavier there. And then I'm going to have to find some place to mount and secure the capacitor, of course. But then I'm just going to zip tie the ESC to this plate, and I zip tie my ESCs all the time. And I'll have to find a special place for the receiver once that's all said and done. But yeah, it's coming together. So anybody doing this at home, this servo saver won't work on this Corona servo. Okay, so I didn't have a horn that would fit in here that was the right height because, you know, it's pretty tight. You're pretty limited on space. So I was able to modify the stock horn, and I did that by taking a 13/64 drill bit, and I just drilled out by hand, not with a drill, the side that goes over the splines, and then I lined everything back up and forced it on with the screw. And it's really pliable plastic, so it went really well. So either that is a good fix or it's going to fail on me at some point. So I'm not too terribly concerned about it because otherwise that horn would just be thrown away. And it took me all of 3 minutes to do that. So I've got everything else mounted up here. Got my wires laid in pretty nice. My receiver will go here, but I got My lead's extended here. I haven't put my ends on yet because I'm not sure about my length. But I got that all done. I flipped the capacitor to the bottom side of the board so those wires would lay in there a little bit nicer. All right, so I've actually got the body back on this. I did a test run, kind of set everything. As far as calibrating that ESC, it's a little goofy. Took me a lot of attempts. I don't know that I ever really got it right. But I finally got dialed in by just adjusting my trim. But yeah, I went ahead and put the body back on it because all the electronics and everything are buttoned up. And then I wanted to show you guys this. I went ahead and took the rear end apart and the shaft assembly and everything. And I haven't tried to take this apart yet. But one thing I noticed when I came off, one of these was slid, and there's another drive pin here. So what this has is a driven bushing in addition to another set of bearings. Where do those bearings ride? Apparently they ride right there. And then the bushing is in between. So I'm really impressed with the amount of engineering in this rear end. And I'm also looking at my gears real close here, and they look fantastic. So I'm really impressed. I haven't opened anything up yet. I'm going to go ahead and try and get the shafts out next and take a look. But I just wanted to show you guys how that was set up. So a bearing, so there's 4 bearings, 6 bearings, because there's a set of bearings at the carrier, a bearing at either end like we're used to with most axials. And I've never had a twin hammer's rear end apart, so maybe this is common. I do have a twin hammer's rear end on Rat Bastard, but I've never had it open, never had a need to. So I don't know, is 6 bearings and a bushing normal for twin hammers and they just copy the design, or did they put that much effort into it? If you know, let's talk about it down below in the comments. Okay, so I'm getting some stuff kind of wrapped up here. I got the rear end all back together. I got some heavy grease. It's a black lithium, multi-purpose black lithium. So I went ahead and packed that into that diff. In my hand, it felt like it made a difference. And I don't know, maybe it did. But we'll see if it pulls hard. But right now I'm in the process. I've got these 2 Florian. It's the lipo packs you see on eBay all the time. I bought these a while back specifically for this truck, and they're 2S and they're both 1500 mAh, and they're a nice tight small pack, and they fit in here really well. I've just never had the adapter to run them side by side, which has always been my goal. And I can't remember what C they are. What C are those? 35C. So I'm getting those kind of situated in here, and I'm in the process of building me a quick little adapter. All I'm doing is taking a female and 2 males, and I'm just soldering them together. Now on the back side, that's going to be kind of probably going to have to put some wire in there to fill in the gaps. But the top, you can just kind of squeeze it together like this and slide the female in and then solder across it. And then I'll shrink wrap this whole thing, make it look nice. But I'll use that to combine these into parallel. So we're still running just 2S, but we're combining 2 packs. So now I'm running 2S, I'm going to be 3000 mAh. So that should help a lot with my run time. It's going to help me disperse that load across 2 packs too, so I'm not trying to overheat them. So I'll go ahead and get this adapter built and get it all put together. I think these batteries are dead, but I'll try and run them just a little bit. I run external alarms on everything. They're cheap insurance. I know a lot of guys don't like to, but I do. And I'll run 2, 1 for each pack. So I'll get those mounted up and put somewhere. I always just mount them straight on the trucks. I'm pretty happy with the results of this. We picked up a lot of speed, we cut down on a lot of heat, and battery consumption is way lower. Batteries aren't even warm. I know for a fact that at least one of those batteries was dead to begin with. So they were both showing problems, but I know those batteries were dead, and I got some pretty decent runtime, and I'd probably still be out there playing, except it's cold and windy and trying to rain on me. So we need to replace that horn. I'll get that done. Servo was a little glitchy to begin with. It came out of it. Motor was a little glitchy to begin begin with, it came out of it. I need to replace that receiver. So I'll look into that a little bit more. Seemed like that one got wet at one time or something. It may also be where I've got the antenna routed. I've kind of got it across the top of the ESC and underneath the wires to the motor. So maybe we're getting some interference then. Maybe I just need to go forward with that wire instead of backwards. So we'll look into that a little bit more. But I'm really happy. I thank you for watching. This is the first video of my RC stuff, so there'll be more coming. I've got a lot of cool builds here. I thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please vote, and please comment. Let's start some discussions and get some activity going here, guys. I'm looking for feedback all the time. Let me know what you think of how I do my videos. Bye.